The Ijaw Youth's Council has urged the Minister of Petroleum, Senator Heineken Lukbobiri, to set aside his governorship ambitions in Bayelsa State and concentrate on fulfilling his responsibilities as a minister. According to the council, Lukbobiri should focus more on effective managing of the crucial petroleum sector instead of what it called political aspirations. In a statement signed by IYC's Secretary General Maboye Nengi Obu and 3 other members, the council stated that Lukbobiri's actions have been overly influenced by his desire to be governor. This, they argued, has led to a lack of focus and an inability to address pressing issues within the oil subsector. Sir, is there anything wrong with a minister having ambitions of being the governor of his state insofar as the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria is concerned, sir?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
let me start by saying that I want to commend the IYC for this kind of advice. You know, those in political offices in Nigeria often don't have the opportunity of getting this type of advice. Why? Because everybody around them will be singing their praises. There is psychopathy everywhere. So the truth most times are not made known to the political leaders. But the truth remains that if Heineken Lukbobiri is going to achieve his aim or the reason for his appointment as the Minister of State Petroleum, there is every need for him to remain focused on the job he has been given to do. You see, when those who spoke, who gave a day said, it is one thing at a time. It is not a fallacy. Human beings are wired to most times do one thing at a time. Focus on one thing until you achieve result. There are a lot of issues in the oil subsector that any serious-minded minister should rather focus on finding solutions to those challenges than to have aspiration to say, I want to be governor of whatever state. Because you know, in Nigeria, for you to be governor, you need to service the gods that be, you need to service the political structure, you need to build a political structure, you need to retain some and things like that. Every small thing that happens in your state, you will leave Abuja and run down to your state. Why? Because you want to be relevant, you want to be seen, you want to be known and noticed and things like that. And by doing that, you will not be properly noticed, you will not be properly seen, you will not be properly recognized. And even in your office in Abuja as a minister, you will not also be very, very effective because your attention is divided. So I think that the advice from the Ijaw Youth Council, to me, is an advice that the brother should give to a brother. So if Heineken wants to make name for himself, he should just focus on the oil subsector and leave an indelible mark in that sector. So that by the time he comes out, he can look back and say, oh, when I was a minister, I did this, I did this, I did. Therefore, if you make me the governor of the state, I will do this. But as we are talking today, the Minister of State Petroleum cannot book. I have not seen anything that will say, okay, this is what is remarkable that he has been able to achieve that will make him want to aspire to become governor of Bayelsa State. There is no doubt to the fact that every Nigerian who is qualified, according to the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can vie to occupy any political office in the land. But I think that we should get to that point where political office holders, especially the appointed political office holders, will have to decide whether they want to be loyal to the Nigerian people under whose president they are serving as minister or AC or whatever, or they want to go and pursue their own political aspiration. But a situation where you carry the resources meant for your ministry and you're using it to advance your own personal cause, which is about becoming a minister or becoming a senator or becoming a governor, is something that should not be heard of. So I think that at this point, even the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should at this point in time read the Riot Act to the ministers. See, guys, I'm not saying I should not aspire, but if you're aspiring for anything in your state, please just put in your resignation and go and focus on your aspiration. If that is how you are going to serve this country better, fine and good, no problem. But you can't combine two political offices. And at the end of the day, the people who are working in the people who are making use of the major stakeholders in the oil and gas sector will suffer because the minister is not effective, he's never there, his attention is divided. And then you have people whom you are aspiring to govern as a governor will also be feeling that, oh, this man is always going to Abuja, he's not always around, he's dealing with us through third-party person, doing those things like that. So I think that the minister should just remain focused, achieve substantially in the Ministry of State Minister for Petroleum, achieve in that ministry very well, give a good account of himself, and then when he comes out, maybe probably in 2027 or in 2031 or thereabout, to vie for the office of the governor of Bayelsa State, we'll be able to say, okay, Bayelsa being an oil-rich state, when you were Minister for Petroleum, you were able to achieve XYZ. And so if we give you our state, that is an oil-bearing state, you'll be able to manage it to the satisfaction of majority of us. So that point will give you time. But to say you want to be a minister and you still want to be a governor, definitely the attention will be divided. So I commend them, Ijaw Youth Council, for that candid advice. And I urge Heineken Lobobiri to heed to this advice that has been given to him so that he can make a better name for himself.
Okay, sir, but concerning the Ministry of Petroleum that we are discussing about right now, that seems to be so urgent on him that he has to concentrate his efforts on that ministry. We are having feelings that definitely the principal minister there is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is the Minister of Petroleum. And Heineken Lobobiri and Berikbeekpo are both subordinates and backbenchers in the Ministry of Petroleum, and I don't see them playing a major role in that ministry as to be able to be distracted from any other ambition that they have.
No, see, even when you see, first, I don't know of any country in the world where the president of that country is also the Minister of Petroleum. I don't know. There may be, but I don't know. So it means that it's not a popular decision. It's not something that people do often.
But it's not unconstitutional.
It's not, even though it's not unconstitutional, morally it is wrong.
It's debatable.
Morally it is wrong.
There are countries where the head of state is also the head of foreign affairs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm talking about minister. I'm talking about Minister of Petroleum in Nigeria. I said for all the oil producing countries of the world, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Libya, Egypt, and co. I am yet to see a president in any of these countries who is at the same time the Minister of Petroleum in that same country. So meaning that the presidents that we have had in the past, the two last presidents that we have had, President Muhammadu Buhari and the current president, have something in mind that they don't want Nigerians to know. That's why they are fixating on being the Minister of Petroleum, and they're running the ministry that is as important as the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Resources, running it with a junior minister who has to depend on the president, to even prepare a memo. Do you understand?
Yes.
But what it means is, if you're a junior minister, what it means is that you are more like an assistant. It's only when your principal acts, that's when you can do something.
Exactly.
So you are just left with going to do the other day, Berikbeekpo, for instance, went somewhere to say want to go and inspect one thing. All they are doing is just to do inspection. And I don't think that we should be wasting our money on people whose job is just need to go and do inspection. Rather, we should invest our money on people who are giving us value for money. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So if we have a system that is functional, that is functioning very well, I think that the president of Nigeria should not be the Minister of Petroleum. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, because now on the second part, even if the minister is working on a part-time basis, even if he's a part-time minister, he works 3 times a week, it is not enough reason for you to say you want to remain as a minister, and at the same time you are nursing the ambition to become the next governor of Bayelsa State. If you want to do that, because becoming a governor of a state means that you have to do wide consultation. You have to travel all the local government areas, you have to go to all the communities, you have to meet all the chiefs and the women groups and things like that. It is not something that you can do and still have another job that you will do effectively. The only way you can do that and do it effectively is if you are a private business operator, somebody who is successful in business, who has set up a business structure that can run on its own.
So we're in Nigeria here. We do know that, including, there are no politicians that can't create time for politicking.
See, that's why we're where we are now. The reason why things are not working in Nigeria is because people are not held accountable for misbehaving. If you are working in Atlantic Television Network now, as a full-fledged staff of Atlantic Television Network, you can't possibly work for AIT or any other sister station. You can't possibly do that. Why? Because your attention will be divided. So the problem is that when your attention is divided, the people will suffer because you're not going to give them the best. You are not going to give your best.
What if I was a part-time staff?
Even if you are part-time staff, it depends on what your job your job.
What if I was a contractor?
Even if it is, it depends on what your job description says. If your job description says your program goes on air 3 times a week, and before that 3 times you have to do some kind of research and everything, will you abandon your research work to go and begin to politic?
Well, we know that.
Do that.
We know that the way elections and politicking and electioneering runs in Nigeria, it doesn't start like, I mean, as in when it's going to be declared open totally for full-time politicking and campaigning, like 2026. But we do know that politics in Nigeria takes a lot of time for the grind to
see what you are saying is like what you are saying now is like an ailment. You only go to hospital when you begin to see the outward sign of your ailment. That's when you go to hospital. For instance, somebody who has an internal sickness, for instance, let's say the liver issue or kidney issue, you won't know that you may have, if you are not very conscious, you will not know that you have this until you begin to notice that you can no longer move your leg or your hand or whatever. Then you begin to go and check what the problem is. What am I saying? What I'm saying in essence is that those who want to be governors of their state will have to go back to their state and do the politicking. And I'm saying that doing that politicking and combining it with a national appointment will not be conducive for either the nation or the people that you want to rule. So I am saying that we should have a system where anybody at any point in time is free to aspire to any other political office. But when you want to do that, you will need to excuse us from this office that you're occupying to focus on this one, this your ambition, to focus on this. As you are now, if you get anything that, if you even as a staff of this place, if you have anything that is driving you so much, you know, that you want to have, you have drive fulfillment in, you won't sit down here and be anchoring a program. You will have to want to resign to focus on that thing, which is your, and that is for your, at your own personal level. But at a general level, you don't have to use our time to go and do politicking when you have not given us the best. The people of Bayelsa, as a matter of fact, Heineken Lokbobiri, as well as any other minister in Nigeria, is utilizing a slot of that particular state. So to some extent, he's also a representative of that state in the federal government. So that means there is a responsibility, there is an expectation that as a minister, even as a junior minister, you should bring some kind of value back to the state. That's what is expected of you. So if you now say you want to abandon it,
but he has not abandoned his portfolio.
I'm saying that. And the reason why Ijaw Youth Council is giving
a governor sometimes can still, without resigning his position, even with the power of incumbency, still prosecute the coming election for his second tenure.
That is
and
why,
it's not looked down upon.
That is why Nigeria is not working well. In fact, if I happen to be the president of this country, it will become a criminal offense for anybody within the first 2 years, 3 years of any administration to talk about the next administration.
Wow.
We are in 2024 today. The next election is coming in 2027. And we have already started hearing that some people have started permutation on Hopo Zodima and Omar Ganduje. We have started hearing different things. And I'm saying that if I'm in charge of the security apparatus of this country, anybody who posts such on the internet, I will get the person arrested. Because what the person is trying to do is to distract us. That's what the person is trying to do.
But is it unconstitutional?
That what?
Is it unconstitutional?
See, let us forget about whether it's constitutional or not. The constitution does not have to spell it out that, see, it cannot aspire. But the point remains that aspiration of average Nigerian politician causes distraction and suffering to the people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
If Governor Similai Fubara of Rivers State, for instance, begins to aspire for 2027, what he will be doing will be trying to serve the interests of those who will make that his ambition become a reality. That's what he will do. So you and I who live in River State, we have to suffer insecurity, we have to suffer bad road, we have to suffer power outage. Every social amenity will crumble because the governor is trying to secure his second term. So if you have a system that makes it difficult, criminalizes people making public declaration when it is not yet time, then I think we will have some kind of sanity. So that's what I mean by when I said Heineken Lokbobiri should adhere to the instruction of the advice of the Ijaw Youth Council and focus as a minister. If you feel that you are good enough to become the governor of Bayelsa State and you are confident enough, put in your resignation letter and go all out for it. There's no point being neither here nor there.
Okay, sir. Good enough. Okay, let's take the stage